Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And in this one we have Wukong because he's still king of the jungle. You might note that he was nerfed, 2-second increase on the W since that ability started really being annoying. And obviously his clear speed was good, 180% bonus damage is now 160. Now did that change his win rate? Did that change what this champion wants to do in order to win the game? No, it didn't. So with the standard rune set on your page now, as well as he looks at his nice little stick there, and his team goes on an invade, which, as you all know, I hate. Let's see how he can battle against a Viego, who also pops off. So we have two junglers really playing well. Who's going to come out on top? I think we know that answer, but how does a Viego throw it away? So we get both perspectives here of a fed jungler who struggles to 1v9 versus one who does. Obviously, there's going to be some laner gap in situations, but at the same time, if you pop off as a Viego, usually you can carry games. So let's see. I'm not a fan of this. This, while I'm having a rampage here about what we're going to see in this game and how strong Wukong is and why he's the best jungler, they're going on a late invade of the red. You force an enforced vertical jungling when you do this in low elo, because what happens is, most people go for these late invades topside as the Wukong, for example, and, they start your blue and then they go down, or they start your red and then they go up here. Or now in this case, they know that you started their red, so you got a bit of vertical jungling. How are we going to correct that? And how are we going to use that to impact the lane that we have on our side of the map, which is, of course, the bottom lane. I was going to say bottom side. Braum Ezreal versus Nautilus and Lucian. Let me just move that around here. And the Wukong does what you should do to correct this mistake and benefit greatly from these invades. You go red Raptors, right? You can leave one or take one, doesn't really matter. You cut across straight up, and you go and control your red quadrant. Now, the enemy jungler is going to start on this, do this, potentially look to go here. They can't now, because you have a Azir prior versus Yone. The Viego is trying to do this anyway, has a scanner, Wukong's dragged the camp into the bush, very well done, and an excellent way of stopping the Viego from getting any sort of camp. So Viego tries to gank mid lane a little bit, great ward obviously, and now we have control, level 3, and he is of course going to go up here now. Now what we choose to do as the Wukong, as the monkey, using Shadow, Fog of War, excuse me, nicely, see, look at this, no wards, looking to see, can we do anything, can we not? The problem is, if you do this, you're giving up this side. Now, typically what you would look to do is go Raptors afterwards, cut across, use a collapse, kill him, and then take your blue side. But if you do have the opportunity to gank, you can go for it. But don't, I didn't like that execution. I would have preferred to control my quadrant, because 3 buffing, 3 quadrating a Viego, a snowbally style jungler early, really useful. Now we have the Ezreal and the Braum are pushed in a little bit. Lucian is very strong. There's a reason he's getting nerfed. Wukong goes back to base, decides to get a long sword control ward, and that's enough for a good fight. The Viego in this case, we don't know if he has only done the blue or did the blue in the Gromp, but because he's EAing out, I think we can presuppose he took the blue and just the scuttle, and now we're just shadowing potentially for the gank here. Ooh, how do I feel about this? How do you guys feel about this? I'm not... There we go, here's a Viego. I'm not always a huge fan of wasting that much time, but in this case it works out nicely, but I don't want a results-based it, really. Viego gets something, Wukong gets something. Now we have a 2v1 here. Yone has moved on down from the mid lane because obviously it's an Azir champion, which is a thing that's very irritating, and we're going to try and stay as long as we can. We don't want to die to the Yone because... it was very close. We almost got away with that. Well then, I did promise you... Queens of Paws, an ADC who knows what to do. So, am I a fan of wasting this much time and only having 12 CS and really shadowing that? No. I do think in those situations you can always look to potentially scan this to see if he left a ward, do the Grump, and then look to float while you're doing that. It just gives you the idea of, hey, I'm keeping my camera bot side, I can get there quickly, I'm dragging the Grump just to make sure I have that experience under my belt, get level 4. But overall, well played by Viego, good read. Well played by Wukong, good read. But I'm still not a fan of low elo players specifically, like the majority of players, like anyone low diamond and below, wasting that much time, because you're not going to have both junglers mind gaming each other to this level, right? And kind of, give and take. It's not really going to happen. But in high elo, obviously in challenger, that's what you're going to see. Here we go. Yone now obviously has Berserker, so he's full build. Azir's going well. That's great. Wukong in the meantime, this is not the best pathing. You know, it started off okay, and this is why. Why do this to yourself with these late invades unless you're going to see it to fruition? I mean, we're going to get a dragon here, because we're forced to. Sejuani at Prio, Sejuani top. I played a lot of Sejuani top this year. It's even stronger now. And Viego showed top side. I'm not really a fan of compromising your straight up game plan for this. Really, it's coin flippy. You know, it's coin flippy and it can go really, really badly. There's a lot of trust there. There's a lot of trust here. Yeah, this is not the best early game, actually. I take it back. I mean, they're definitely both going to pop off. But why is Wukong so strong? Because this doesn't matter. Because he will still reach the spike he needs to win the game. Because he is the Monkey King. And the Monkey King really doesn't struggle at all to scale and get back into the game. Now, holding waves in these kinds of game states is crucial, right? Hold the waves, absorb the experience, get yourself strong. And in the meantime, we can jump down to the bottom lane here. We just skip down to the bot side. We have Viego using that time to gank again. And Ezreal does get a kill back. Oof, they're greeting. The Lucian goes in, but he's gonna die. This is the coin flip of bottom lane. It is absolutely beautiful when this happens. Yone again is downside, right? So the Wukong's actually not in the best position here. I know the final KDAs, and I know they both pop off, and I know the Wukong has like 81% KP, but at the moment he isn't even that close. So you can look at the match history link in the description. You'll see how the game evolves. But it's really interesting watching, you know, the Xin Zhao game, good early game, terrible mid game, and this one, obviously he's gonna have a good mid and late, but his early game is leaving a lot to be desired. Too much waiting around, not sequencing those camps, and a direct result of the 20% nerf to damage to monsters, because you're not gonna be able to rinse clear as much. But the selling point of Wukong here is super strong against AD, obviously because of his armor passive, right? So picking things like Lily and Karthus into him can be really, really good. Anything with AP that negates that in a sense. But his PvP overall is so strong, his utility with his ultimate is so strong, and his clone plus his dash over the wall now is so strong that he's one of those junglers that doesn't need to AFK farm to remain relevant and still get juice, because his base numbers are so good and itemization is so good for him in this meta that he's going to have no issue eventually clawing his way back into the game. I was looking for another word other than clawing because he do be monkey, but nothing came to mind. Unfortunately, it's really hot here in Europe, not in my studio because that's air conditioned with 100% renewable energy, but it's still hot outside the room, so weights was a little bit intense. My brain is a bit sapped. We do have Kumusi in this. Oh, that I forgot to notice and mention that. That explains why Ezreal's so good. So those of you who have commented in the chat and in the comments already that that's why he's so good. Well, it's disgusting, isn't it? It's the difference between the best Ezreals in the world and absolutely piss useless Ezreals is so insane. This is good. Overstay, rotate, wait for jungler to detach, go ahead and clean up the kill. We know Viego is now moving around with his E. We see two people in the mid lane, super low, we're level 7, got 2 spikes from that. Ahead of the Viego, give him a bonk with our Q, move out, get ulted by the Nautilus. Gragas rotates, we get the slow. Team is separated, ulted again, that was nice, ulted against the wall. We'll dash and bonk again, remember. Attacks, abilities, that reduces your bonking. So, you know, the more you can get in a fight and use your auto attacks, the more you're going to be able to use Crushing Blow. And of course, this is a nice little transition here. We lose the Herald, obviously, but we slide on down. Let's see if we can go into the jungle, get some counter jungling, as we know Viego went up. And of course, he will do that because this was seen here in the camera movement, so you know you can kite down now. Now, your bottom lane has taken those tower plates, but here's the thing, right? You have to know how to play around this. Too many times I see fed ADCs, and I think most of you can agree on this. Yone, are you committing? We're patiently waiting, patiently waiting. ADCs can get fed. See, this is what made this champion so damn strong. And obviously, good read by the Viego. Excellent counter gank as well. But this overall was really, really nice. I want you guys to look for those things in your games. Now, pay attention to support roams, enemy jungler locations, warding before you do that, scanning before you... all the good fundamentals that allow you to succeed in that moment. But the principle is, that's so good. And the CDR on that being nerfed a little bit by 2 seconds does help in terms of his escapability, but you're looking at things like 15 seconds already, so that's really not so bad considering the haste he has, because we do like haste. 10? I remember when Sheen had more stats, and I keep forgetting that it doesn't. used to have other things, like it used to build out a mana crystal, and now it's just Sheen. Did anyone else remember that? I kind of still forget that it's literally just like it's a small item. It used to be, what was it, 1100 if someone can remember? Obviously now your pieces move around the map, and here you go, Feta, ADC, even Guma usually goes top lane, they swap. Viego says, well, now I've got a roaming support because, I mean, I can just leave Lucian ISO. Why don't I just rotate and get the shot on, which is exactly what they did. And because the Wukong's early game was so high risk and patienty and wasting timey in terms of looking for those ganks and not fusing himself with experience, he didn't get that Herald. And of course now he will get an Ocean Dragon, which is absolutely beautiful. But that's 3 plates to the Yone as well as to the Viego. And now the Viego is ahead because of our death mid lane, but we're still 3-2-2. Birdman goes to the top. We just reposition kindly. We'll take this, obviously. Nice, bad smite, but that's okay. So Juani's moving to the mid lane here. A little bit of a collapse is possible. We'll make sure we're scanning as we approach. Nautilus shows up. We can use our clone to tank a hook. Please do that. That's why it's so annoying. Dash over. We'll clean that. So, how do you feel about the game so far? We got 3-2-2. I feel like it's been okay, you know, in terms of what we're thinking about. But the Viego is up 15 CS, 5-3. He's had some good counter ganks. He's got himself a bit more gold, I think, from those plates. And now we're farming our Raptors when our team is sieging mid lane, and that's a big mistake. So you need to be able to rotate to these situations to save your team, or at least be present, especially in your lower diamond games. Do they overcommit to this? They do! Knock them up, baby! Can we do it again? Yes, we can. And Ezreal gets ulted by the Sejuani, who just WQs in. Or QWs in, doesn't really matter what you're doing. Groggy shows up. Repositioning, watch the Sejuani E getting stunned. He goes in for the kill, gets stunned anyway. So he makes that executive decision trade to go in, get the kill for himself, and obviously gets E in place anyway. Gragas is one of those champions that you think, what the hell? See, pro play should learn from this. You know, you don't have to be risk averse and just collect stamps for 25 minutes before you start fighting. I can't believe someone gets paid to pick Viego Xinshao on the modern patch and he goes Divine Sunder or Deadman's. It's just utterly baffling, LEC, that someone thought this, like, you've had months and this is what they come up with. Xinshao's not even good. I'm completely perplexed by some of the decisions. But anyway, in solo queue we have a different reality. Now, Luciano says, okay, well, you know, you guys want to fight and die. I'll take 2 plates. Thank you so much. Enjoys his free cash monies. We go and hold this wave as well. And here's the thing, and why this game's so interesting, why I didn't stop recording once I realized the early game was bad. I think it's good to look at bad early games. It's good to look at bad early games and how you can just make yourself as strong as possible and have good fighting mechanics so that when the moment does come where you kind of need to win or lose the game, you can be ready for that. Divine Sunderer, Kindle Gem, Ione Boots of Jungling. Viego went the good itemization, thank goodness for that. Essentially now, everyone is grouped up because we don't want our Ezreal, who's the carry here, 6-4-2, now he's out 4 times, right? To get caught out again. Could we look to dive this? Let's have a look. Ezreal ult, very, very low. Wukong goes over the wall here, be very, very cautious. Nautilus flashes in, we knock up to zone. Azir knocks back. Wukong's gonna go ahead here and avoid the Sejuani E by repositioning very, very nicely. Very, very nice. Yone! Ooh, that was disgusting, but the focus isn't on you as Wukong, so go back, dive in, use your cooldowns. That's another 2 kills for ourselves. Everyone's super, super low. We're gonna flash in and get that one. We're gonna dash in and get that one. Do we have a penta? Do we have a penta? Viego, you can't touch me. I am Alpha Jungler. Queen's applause again. Wow. Okay. So, rewatch that in 0.5 if you like, to see the positioning, the mobility, the use of flash, the use of clone, the use of ultimate and zoning, and the understanding of what you need to do in a team fight to snack the most he can. In this case, you cannot get more than a pentakill. And his excellent positioning means that even though that Yone ult was disgusting, and it was, he didn't get caught up in it and used the disarray to reposition himself multiple times and stop picking people off. Yes, he was a benefactor, but that's all you have to be sometimes. You know, it's always good to say, yeah, I did the most damage, but, you know, did it lead to anything? There's meaningful damage. So you can have 3rd, 4th damage, maybe 2nd damage, and have the highest KP. You know, it's meaningful damage that's leading to kills, and as long as you are using that then to go to objectives, super nice, super good. So RNG crab, we do want to suck, so we go down and take that and kite straight back up for the Herald. We do want to maximize our challenges, of course. We want to get 2 Heralds in the game so we can level up our challenges in the client, you know, mini games. I should make a video actually on the main channel about what challenges you should actually focus on as a jungler that can make you better. because there are challenges that I like following myself for my personal style that I think if others focused on could help them. And likewise, I've seen better junglers have different challenges to me, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I should actually think about that and try and focus leveling that up. And I think as long as you use it as an educational tool in your jungling, as we kill this Sejuani again for some reason in the river, you can get a lot of benefit from the challenges. And I've been copy pasting and talking about this a lot in my Discord just to get people to think about, like, why don't you have, you know, a double scuttle challenge? Why don't you have a 4-0 Drake Soul challenge? You know, like, why are those core things really lacking in your game style? So what's going on? Maybe that's why you can't win games. And so I think a video like that should be really useful. And it's really apparent in a video in a game like this, where the intangibles and the weird things that junglers are needed to do in order to win can show themselves a bit more. So 935 now, we've got Black Cleaver straight up. Obviously, we've got no real need for the AD stacking bonus, but it helps us, right? Kite ability, haste, HP, AD, armor shred, and we've got an Ezreal. So it does a lot for those two champions here, and you can see the damage already. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting, because this item I feel like is, you could go Death's Dance and so on, but the extra HP, plus all the other things I just said, can be so useful. So they collapse in on us with the Azir in the mid lane. We kind of knew they were going to do that, so we're keeping our space here. If your team are going to die and waste their lives like this, don't waste yours in turn. Just kind of float the edges and see, maybe is there a moment when I can go in exactly like this? Beautifully played again by the Wukong, farming, looking. Can I go in and leave the camp? Yes, and then I do. So that's a great example of mid-game fighting. 100%. Because you know they're coming down. You know they're going to collapse on you. So make sure you don't, oh no, my ADC's caught, I better rush in and die. No. Take a camp. If they die, they die. If you can do something about it, do it. Make that risk assessment. And I think the better you become, the better your risk assessment will be, obviously. The more experience you have, the more you watch these replays and see, oh, I didn't know I could do that and tank so much with this build in Wukong. I didn't know I could do this much damage with this build in Wukong. You tried yourself, you tested yourself, sometimes you'll live and die. But if you watch this and you're thinking, oh wow, Divine Sundra, Black Cleaver, I could do things with that. And obviously we can go DD next, and then you've got your things like Mortius. You can always go a bit tanky, but I don't really think you need to. I mean, outside of weird pro play Viego builds for no reason whatsoever, I mean, Wukong is punishable, no doubt, but in solo queue, you're seeing why he's so strong. Because you invested a lot of time early in lanes, and I don't think you should do that as much, because farming junglers will punish you for it. But at the same time, it was good intuition, and he made up for it. Using his clone there as well. Now we're pushing this. So just pushing them up slowly. Okay, it's not over yet. We only have a 5k gold lead. It can go back and forth. You'll see in the graph, in the match history in the description, there we go. Words are difficult sometimes, how it goes back and forth. But these are the intangibles. Okay, here we go. Burner's flash, we'll take that. Stunned over the wall. Again, the Yone goes in, but the Azir disengage is huge. But Sejuani takes down Guiuzi. So he is now 766. And now you're seeing what I was saying. As a fed ADC, sometimes they just end up getting focused, mispositioned for a second, and they die. And you have to be able to handle that. What do you do around those situations? Do you go and die for them? Do you go and die with them? Or do you just go, that's on you? What else can I do in the meantime? In this case, it's beautiful because you push the map up. So you just say, right, see ya, see ya, see ya. Take all of these things. I can reset when Ezreal's up again. Now we can go back on the map and try once more. We do have a Dragon that will be coming up after the Baron. So maybe we can go for the Baron secure. But we do need a bit more cash monies for the Death's Dance, so we might as well keep farming. Excuse me. I don't enjoy this. Remember, damage. Remember, I just uploaded on my main channel how to make laners respect you as a jungler immediately every game so that they don't do that. It's a very specific formula. Now we're just hovering, and I think this is fine. There's nothing to farm, right? I mean, all that's up is the Krugs, but if you go there and your team gets caught out, you need to be here. And obviously the Baron is going to be spawning soon. So we just want to push the mid lane here to create a vision control. Our support goes into check and obviously gets killed. I mean, says Ronnie ult, Smithy moment. Azir showing up, Gragas showing up, he ults to separate. Yone is going to E over from there. Can we get into the wall to do that? We can. Wukong's Q connects, doesn't really matter, still dies, beautifully done. Playing off of what your teammates are doing, even though we had a number disadvantage, support for support life, that's the way it do be sometimes. We have here the Fat Man going way too deep, Wukong goes in, flashes to get in, uses his double knockup ult. We've got, of course, the red smite plus the burn damage. Azir finishes him off. Now we're zoning. Azir knocks back the Viego, and we're going to reposition here using our clone a little bit, distort the reality for them. And look how strong he is in a PvP sense. You see what I'm saying? Sustain, HP, damage, CDR boosts on the Q. The guy, when you team fight, is so absolutely disgustingly strong. That is why he's the best jungler in the game. Objectively, in terms of like raw stats and everything he does, like he might not always have the best win rate, you know, is what I'm saying, but his play rate, his ban rate, all of that fused together, plus what you're seeing here shows you why he can be so good. I'm not always a fan of like rushing these barons. We're gonna have to smite early. Yeah, so I'm talking too much a bit about Wukong. Woo, repositioning. Do we lose the baron? Do we get... Oh, nicely done. Nicely done by the team there. I thought for a second maybe, but they cleaned up and got the kills. So all that repositioning and the disruption from the Wukong really is the selling point. But that's the thing, you know. Win rates will fluctuate up and down as nerfs come through. They definitely do go down. You do see that impact, but then you have to ask, really, does it affect what you want to do with the jungler in order to win? And in this case, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. Yeah, you lose Tampa versus Karthus, but who the hell cares when you're killing everyone, you know? So as long as you play the map correctly, you'll have no issue. We see here good vision, control. We can go over the wall as well if we want to, but we see here Azir. Why do they do what they do, these players? Azir's dead, Ezreal's dead, Braum is dead, and now we have to give up a dragon, which gives them bounties. Sometimes you lose games, and that's a video on my main channel as well. But we can always do this. I mean, they're going to overcommit as well. The hook misses because we repositioned. They couldn't see us. Nice job by the Gragas as well. Gragas and Wukong here showing you how to teamfight as a fighter. 15-3-9 now. You know, 8-8-8 on the Ezreal, as you're seeing. It's not as obvious from the get-go. You'd think, Ezreal's going to steamroll the game, but it's the monkey. Doing monkey business, flinging his feces all over the map, and making sure it sticks. Which it does, because he has a good diet. Now, we're going to steal these camps as well. What am I on about sometimes? And Ezreal's going to go to the bot side here. We do have Baron, which we should use, obviously. Push, now we can kite down. We can take some reds. We can take some camps. Again, caught out of position. Sejuani doing work. Maybe we should be a bit more involved in these, but we're in a position now because of our good pathing to clean up. And that's the key, right? That is the absolute key, to make sure you're in a position to clean up. We do get chunked there by the tower. So we have to that was a little bit close. Reposition and probably leave now. We do have red. Yeah. You know, we can chill. That's pretty good regen, actually. We can chill. If someone's low, we can flank it in. Yeah. Look at this. The ocean plus the red is doing so much work. Plus Wukong things is brilliant. Really brilliant. So obviously these passives, as you read them, right? The regeneration of the HP. Old days, you know, Garen passive and the Wukong passive and the Mundo kind of stuff, obviously before rework. So simple. It looks like we're getting a mostly diseased ADC again. ADC design, Riot, horrific. Another egocentric, disrespectful character champion with Samira, Gwen, Ziri combination nonsense. Like, honestly, Bel'Veth was a breath of fresh air in terms of her design as a character, but also in terms of a kit. And now we're going back to this over-the-top, fanciful, just nonsense. It's so generic at this point. It really feels like not excited at all for the new marksman. Sorry to say, way more for the Udyr. Here we go. In the meantime, we're taking a camp, sliding it down using the Hexa Gates. Our team are getting caught out. I'll just shelve that talk for another day. And they're fighting. Make sure you rotate to the situation. I understand you can't always control your teammates doing these random things, but as long as you can rotate and be present, because you're always pathing in the right direction as we go and obliterate the Yone as he justly deserves, you'll end up making the right play. You know, as long as you're in the right position, you can make the right plays. But it's just a PvP sense. Like, it's so simple, right? It's so simple. We use our flash again here on cooldown almost. Bonk. So much damage. And we went for the GA. No real reason to go for the Maul in this game, because the only real AP threat is Sejuani, and she's tank. And the GA keeps you alive from randomness, gives you armor. BF sword, stopwatch. Yep. And then you can close the game out. So, not the cleanest early game. Definitely not an early game I'm personally a fan of in terms of wasting that much time on lanes. And vertical jungling and like sort of these invade games. Just do a standard clear, look for your ganks, you'll have a much better time, and you can do the same thing while keeping close with the enemy jungler in terms of CS, but As you can see, it's not about that. It's about maintaining a good position, a good itemization spike, and then using that and using your mechanics and champion knowledge and ability, which of course in this case is the best in the game, to get a pentacle, mid-game, destroy, and then close out like it's nothing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed and learned something. Go ahead and have a look at the other videos recently. They all got something different to focus on and talk about. Main channel videos up. Coaching is on Patreon, as well as coaching VODs for you to observe if you don't want personalized coaching. Yeah, enjoy the summer, and as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial. I'm not going anywhere, I just would like enjoy the hot weather. I hate it, but you enjoy it if you're into that.